welcome back to today's How to Be Happy January. Now today I am with the lovely Becky, or Talk Becky Talk, and she has been over from the UK, so I thought that she would be the perfect person to film today's video with.
I'm excited for this.
I'm excited that you're
very
here.
I'm excited to be here, and it's so nice and warm and lovely.
I had to turn the air conditioning on for her because she was a little
like,
toasty.
I'm used to being so cold.
Yeah.
It's so warm.
Quick, turn the air on. Well, I'm excited for today's video. Becky is someone that, as I've gotten to know her and talk with her, she has really taken the plunge and gone after the things that she wants and her dreams and her goals. So I thought it would be cool to have her here and kind of talk to her about that. So, this might be kind of an awkward way to jump into it, but do you want to kind of tell people about your story and your background first? Is that cool?
It's an interesting, it's kind of a long-winded one.
That's okay.
I started doing YouTube a long time ago, and I was actually doing cooking videos. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, you told me. You were like, I didn't really know how to cook, but...
I did not know how to cook. They were so bad. And I started doing videos, and I loved it so much. And then on the side of that, I fell into doing television. So I was doing presenting and reporting in the UK. So I was working for kind of a big company in the UK, and I loved doing it and I really enjoyed it, but I found that it was so tough. I found that I was kind of, do you ever feel that you neglect family, friends, people around you? And I found I was really struggling to kind of keep up with everything. And I think sometimes when you work so hard to do something, I'd worked for so long to do this job that I thought that I wanted to do, there was so much pressure to kind of stay there and kind of do that job. And then I knew that I was facing a decision either to carry on YouTube or to stop doing YouTube, or to carry on with my full-time job. I wasn't going to be able to do them both.
It was pretty black and white, right?
It was,
you had to choose.
Yeah, it was very black and white. I had to choose either YouTube or my job because they weren't going to fit together. And it was so difficult because I was working for something that I really enjoyed, but it was so tough, and I felt like I was losing my friends, my family, I was losing me. And sometimes when you do a job, you feel like you're basically becoming almost a robot for that job. And I started to recognize things that weren't kind of me and weren't kind of good. And so it was really weird. I went out with some friends at the beginning of last year, and we all we called ourselves the Three Musketeers, and we all kind of made a decision to change something about our life. For me, it was my job, so I was like, right, okay, I have to get to the point where I'm happy and I'm doing something that I enjoy. So literally a few weeks ago, I then left, and I am now doing YouTube full time, which for me was a huge thing because I was leaving behind a lot of the work that I'd done and going forward on my own. And it was super scary because you go to work and you arrive in the morning and you know that you're going to be doing stuff, and it was leaving that and kind of having faith in yourself and having faith in what you're doing. And also doing YouTube, that I didn't want to lose that. I had obviously had so much time to build things up and meet people, and it wasn't just about making videos, it was the friends, you know what I mean? It's not, is it that for you as well?
Oh yeah, it becomes that's the thing I think people don't see a whole lot, is that a lot of, or maybe you do, a lot of YouTubers, we become very close, and we all share the same passions and the same hardships and all that stuff in common. So yeah, you definitely become tight with a lot of the people that do it.
And I felt like it had become a massive part of my life, and I moved into beauty because, let's face it, I sucked at cooking.
Aww.
So I was doing more and more beauty, and I just enjoyed it so much. It was a huge part of my life, and I was so nervous because it's almost like jacking in a job that you know that you've worked so hard to do and that is reliable, and then you're having faith in yourself and having faith in going forward. And you know what, I woke up one day and I tried to imagine if I woke up and I didn't have my full-time job, or if I woke up and I didn't have YouTube and I didn't have my friends on there. And I was super sad. I did not want to ever lose that. And it's a massive, massive risk. And every day I would wake up and think, should I do this? Should I not? And that is the toughest thing. You have to stay true to yourself. And I think for me, it was time to take that leap of faith, and time to move away from something that was making me not particularly happy, and time to just put my faith in something that I really, really enjoyed. So yeah, it was a really tough kind of decision.
So can I ask you what the tipping point was? Because you had been there for a while, a few years, right? So what was the point that you were like, dude, I need to make the move forward to do something else?
I'd been there for a long time, and I think sometimes you can be in a job that you think you really, really enjoy, and I'd always aspired to work as a TV reporter doing all these different types of stuff, and I think my friends used to think, wow, what a cool job, it's really, really good. And then I got to the point where one day, I think it just dawned on me that
You literally just woke up.
Yeah, you have a feeling. It just dawned on me. And then actually a really good thing was that I started to immerse myself more in YouTube and meet people. And you know, sometimes when you reach out to people, you realise that there is a whole new world. And I am so lucky, like I've met such nice people, and sometimes you're so nervous about change, and it's been incredible, like this year, meeting new people and realising that actually it's not as scary as you think it is. And yeah, I think you can do whatever you want to. I still want to balance stuff that I did before, but I don't want to lose YouTube, and for me that was so important to be able to carry that on. But yeah, it was super scary.
I found it really interesting that you said you immersed yourself in that world like before you took the plunge.
Yeah.
So would you say, well I guess you did just say this, that definitely helped like the dive, because it wasn't just so like, I have no idea where I'm going. You just kind of like immerse yourself first.
I think sometimes as well, you always think that the grass is a little bit greener in terms of you can be doing your job and you think, oh well, I really want to be doing that full time, and then you get there and you do it and it's perhaps not what you think. So a tip for me would be to like try it if you can manage to juggle two things at once, and then realise. And for me, I guess because I'd always done YouTube all along, I knew what it was like, that I knew that was the right kind of side to be.
Such a good tip.
And don't like jack everything in and go on to the next thing, and then you're kind of like
you're like, oh, I don't even really like this that much. That's a really good tip.
Yeah, so I think definitely try and do it as well at the same time. And it's believing in yourself, like you have to have faith in yourself as well.
Yeah.
And surround yourself by good people, like good friends, and I think that's the key as well, having support. Like I have a bit of support at home, and when I have a down day, like I'll pick up the phone and someone's like, right, 1 month to go, and then you're out and then you're doing something. Yeah.
I was just going to ask you that. Was your family really supportive of this?
Yeah, I was really lucky because I trained so hard to do my job, and I spent so much money training to do it, that one of the biggest fears for me was telling my family that I didn't want to do it anymore and that I wanted to do something really different. And I was scared, like I was really scared about telling people that actually this isn't what I want to do anymore. And I was lucky, like I had supportive, I think you still have people that don't support you. Like I had a really hard time, people that I either worked around or near, some people did not understand the decision that I was making. That was very hard because you doubt yourself, and I think you have to realise that not everyone will agree with what you're doing, but then if you surround yourself by people who want the best for you, then yeah.
It's interesting because I think I've said that before, that like sometimes you do stuff and I'm always like, people don't have to get it for you to like do it, because there have been a ton of things in the past that I've done, like when I used to teach dance for like 5 years, and then this and just some other things that when I've done it, people are like, what are you doing? But I think what you said is really true about having people who are supportive. So even if maybe they don't get it, they're still like, all right, come with your crazy ride.
And you know what, like life is so short. I think I got to the point where I woke up and I thought, like, this is not a rehearsal, like this is it.
This is it.
This is it,
YOLO.
guys. And like, let's live it and let's do something that makes me feel happy, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something that made me feel happy, and that is definitely my kind of motto, that you have to be you, do something that makes you feel happy. And also when you're in a situation where you're having to choose, you have to follow your heart. And it was very black or white. What I was doing before was not going to allow me to do this, and it was super scary to make that choice.
I was just going to ask you, what was the scariest thing about like following your dream?
I think the scariest thing for me was that because I was moving from traditional television to then doing stuff on YouTube, that I would never be able to get back to doing what, that everybody would hate me from the industry, or everyone would think that I was leaving. And that was the hardest thing as well, like leaving behind something that I knew so well, and I was kind of comfortable with doing it, and then thinking that I might never be able to do it again, and what would people think of me. But sometimes you have to go away and do other stuff and be yourself, and you can always go back to stuff. Like if you don't like what you're doing and you make a decision, it's not the end of the world. You can always go back and do something. And I think that was pretty scary at first. I was thinking, is this the right thing to do? And you have bills to pay, like we all have money to earn as well, and that was scary as well. So it's about being sensible, but then also, as I said, like you literally live once, and for me, I thought, so that was a really scary part, like thinking that I was leaving something that I trained so hard for, and I was like, what if people don't like me on YouTube, like what? Because obviously when I was working before for a channel, they're watching the channel, but now it's just little old me, and it's really hard to have that confidence in yourself, because you think, well, what happens if they don't want to watch me.
No, it's scary.
You know, so it was super scary to have that confidence that actually, yeah, people will hopefully.
Well, I really admire you. I was telling Becky earlier that, like, after she told me her story, I, like, called both my parents. I was like, oh my gosh, this girl is so ballsy. And it's really cool because I feel like with the economy right now, a lot of people are, I was listening to the radio and they were talking about this, a lot of people are kind of getting, like, second chances, kind of out of, like, necessity and desperation. And I feel like we're in this really, like, weird time where people could potentially start all over. And what I admire so much about you is you weren't necessarily, didn't have to, but you were not in a position that you were super happy with, or you like were like in love with, and you took the plunge.
And sometimes you feel like really upset about what, like, I was definitely unhappy about things in my work, and with the economy like how it is, you're scared about moving away, and I think it's difficult because you want to be happy, but then at the same time you're worried, and it's a very tough time. Like, it's really, really tough. So I think have faith as well that everything happens for a reason, and if you have good people around you, if it goes wrong, there is always something else that you can do.
Yeah, having support I think is really important. What, like, practical, like, step-by-step advice would you give to someone if they're, like, freaking out about following their dream, but they're like, I want to go after this, I don't even know what to do though, it's just kind of a thought right now?
I think one of the main things that you have to do is get advice from whatever you kind of want to go into. And I think sometimes you have a dream but you have no idea how to achieve it, and obviously my dream is like totally different to other people's. So when I first went into telly, the advice that I had when I was going into that was to go and get trained and go and get some advice. For me now, moving into YouTube, it's been all about being comfortable with me, trying to meet friends and kind of going forward with that. So whatever it is and whatever dream you have, I think you just need to immerse yourself in it, like have it as a part of your life, and try and get as much advice, because sometimes, like, we do not know the answers to all the questions, and it's so hard at the moment to kind of achieve stuff. So I think do loads of research online. There are always things out there like schemes that you can get involved with.
Schemes?
And, like,
what does that mean?
Is that a British word?
Okay, A, sorry Bowser's barking, first off, but B, I don't know what that means. Like, when I think of scheming, I think of like,
oh really?
Yeah, like I'm planning something bad.
Well, you could do. No, like a scheme, oh yeah, kind of like scheming. A scheme in the UK would be like, come up with, they have like groups and things, like projects that will help people to get into what they want to go to. So they will have, whether that's like telly or whether it's dance, they have like projects to try and help you into it. So never feel like you're alone, because it's easy sometimes if you live in the middle of nowhere to feel like you just don't know how to do it. So yeah, reach out to people. That's the biggest thing that I've ever done, is reaching out to people, and then you don't feel alone.
You're so good. I'm going to add to that, because that's such a good point, that if you're young, you're on the younger side, don't feel weird to start now. Because like she said, just because there's a dream in your head, that dream very well could come to life, but it also could be something that you might think you would like, but when you actually do it, you might not like it. And I feel like that's kind of the path of discovering what you do want to do. So if you're young, I'm going to say, like, take Becky's advice and immerse yourself and reach out to people, intern, do all that stuff, because I honestly think that's the only way you actually do find out what you want to do. And I think just thinking about it, you can't really know that you want to do it, and you can't actually do it until you do it, and you
it's
immerse
like being
yourself.
Really keen as well, like do everything you can, like interns, work experience, like volunteer, whatever you can do. And like interning, like when they make fun of people who are like getting the coffees or whatever, that is all, in my opinion, so valid, because I personally think that like every single industry is run off of like relationships and getting along with people. So you meet people and you get along with them sometimes by getting their coffee, you know? I'm serious. So yeah, your advice is brilliant, and I really appreciate you coming over and contributing for this week. I appreciate it a lot. It's so nice to share it, because I think at times, like, I've definitely felt very alone, and it's hard to ask people, and sometimes friends don't always understand, and it's it can really suck, like, and you don't know what to do. So just talk about it, reach out to people, and yeah, hopefully that's helped a little bit.
I think it has. And if you guys have any questions, leave it in the comment section, because the comments that have like, and go through it and see, because if you have the same question, thumbs it up. And if we have some comments, like the really high rated ones, we'll talk about it, and you know, we'll answer it. So we want to know, you know, what you guys are thinking, the questions that you have, all that stuff. Now, before we go, we actually filmed a New Year's, what is it called? The New Year's tag? Yes, we filmed the New Year's tag over on Becky's channel. So you're going to want to go check check that out. It was a really fun tag.
It was cool.
She kind of made it up. So go check that out. Be sure to subscribe. She's absolutely amazing.
Want to leave LA.
I know, we don't want you to leave. So go subscribe so that, I don't know, I was gonna say you can bring the warmth to her, but that literally doesn't make any sense. That was me just talking. Just go subscribe. Yeah. So I will see you guys very soon. Also be sure to leave, comments, requests, all that stuff on Twitter using the hashtag HowToBeHappyJanuary, and we will see you later. Bye guys.